Hi, I'm Jane Rudolph.
And I'm Monsignor Charles Minor.
I'm Father Joe Glass. Welcome to Reel to Reel.
Carl, our director, who we talk about all the time, told us that we don't have any time to talk tonight, so we have to get right to it, okay?
Whatever Carl says,
we do.
We do it.
Here we go. Tonight you're going to see something called Mural of Meanings, and it combines art and a soup kitchen and also Mother Angelica, so stay tuned for this one.
Joe Swope is back with us tonight on Arts Review, has some very special ideas on techniques for us that you're really going to enjoy. And we're very happy to have back for us Father Bracken to talk about the church position on homosexuality.
And if you've been feeling called to do something special, to do something positive to build a better world, Sister Leona Tucker is here from the Family Living Program to offer you a very unique opportunity to help.
But to start off this evening, we're going to travel to the sunny shores of Miami. And Monsignor, when you think of Miami, you think of water sports and activity and a lot of kind of healthy outdoor activity. However, for a group of people who are paralyzed, that's not the case.
You know, it's interesting in the gospel narratives recently to talk about Jesus could perform no miracle in Nazareth because they were not ready for it. And the thing we learned about this Miami project is if you're ready for the cure, it's important that you be prepared. So the cure will work if you're ready for it. We want you to watch how they say, if you really want the cure, be ready when it's found.
Miami in winter, with a combination of warm beaches, gentle waters, and an array of wildlife, Miami attracts tourists looking to escape from the frozen north. But recently, Miami has also become a magnet for a small group of people. They are doctors, researchers, therapists, and patients who believe together they can find a cure for paralysis.
It's attitudinal, it is realistic hope, and it's not just emotional. It has to be based in scientific and medical background. There's 500,000 individuals in wheelchairs throughout the United States due to spinal cord injuries, paralyzed because of the spinal cord injury. Wherever they are in their life, it is imperative that they maintain the highest quality of life.
Attaining the highest quality of life is key to the approach of a program called the Miami Project to Cure Paralysis. Steve Toll is the executive director and explains the importance of keeping the body ready to accept a cure when it is found.
A lot of times you see individuals in chairs that have avoided their rehab, that have given up on therapy, and they become drawn and frail and constricted. The body just keeps going backwards. The worst thing that would ever happen is there's a breakthrough in the scientific area, and that individual would not be receptive to the cure because of so many other disabling parts of their body.
Located at Jackson Memorial Hospital in Miami, Florida, the Miami Project has assembled the latest equipment and technology. Patients work on exercising and stimulating muscles that would otherwise atrophy.
Through modern medicine, modern technology, they can stimulate the non-feeling, non-functional muscles to move. Lack of a better definition, jump-starting the lower extremities. The computer-generated electrodes that are placed on the leg in the same sequence as our spinal cord would drive them actually moves the bike. What that does, it keeps the body healthy, keeps the body strong, because all the work as we move forward in finding the cure for paralysis, the able-bodied must accept the cure.
And I came for the upper extremity program with do it with the biofeedback and FES for stimulation for my my triceps right now. They're working at my triceps with electrical stimulation, and it just contracts the muscles and helps develop them to try to use them more. They hook electrodes on your triceps, and then it sends stimulation, electricity that contracts the muscle, and then it moves the muscle for you.
Sharon Moskowitz is from upstate New York. She came to Miami to work on improving her muscle tone and strength.
You can keep on using the knowledge what they have here, but there's only so much someone can teach you, and then you yourself, no matter what kind of injury it is, everyone's function is differently, so you have to learn on your own more what you can do for yourself more than, because PT and OT can only teach you so much, and then you have to go out on your own and, learn to do other things for yourself.
Over 10 years ago, Alan Troop broke his neck while body surfing. He's learned to live with his disability.
Made me a lot more aware of looking for the things that are good in life. Made me a lot more interested in maximizing that which I had to do. Initially, when I first had the injury, of course I didn't think I was ever going to be able to enjoy life again, and you know, all the things that one goes through during that period. As I got out of the hospital and came home, probably for the first 3 years I was out, I wouldn't let myself do anything that might be limited activity. You know, I would not, I'm a sailor, and I gave up sailing for 3 years because I refused to go on a boat and not be totally in control of the boat. At the end of that period of time, I realized that I was denying myself some pleasures.
Being in a wheelchair, you can really live a really full life. I mean, you definitely can. It's mind, a lot of it's mind over matter, you know. It's mentally, you know, if you adjust to it, there you can do everything, almost everything that an able-bodied person does do. You know, I mean, you really can. There's no limitations if you want to do it.
Perhaps the most visible supporter of the Miami Project is 21-year-old Mark Bonaconte, the son of former Miami Dolphin Nick Bonaconte.
The Miami Project is not going to quit on me, and I'm not going to quit on them. Please help me, my friends, and millions of others who need your support.
After being injured in a football game, Mark and his family have worked hard to raise awareness as well as funds to find a cure for those with spinal cord injuries.
Everyone has their own way of coping with the accident. From what I've seen, everyone within a certain period of time either decides that they're not going to function, and then they either lock themselves up or whatever, or be bitter, or generally within 5 years, the people that are going to decide to make it on the outside come to the conclusion that they're just going to go about living their lives. And the people I know that are successful in chairs really don't pay a lot of attention to being in a chair. You know, they just pay attention to being part of the mainstream.
Learning to live with the way you look, you know, being in a wheelchair mentally, and how people look at you, how, you know, you have to get over, like, words, things that people do say. I mean, those are some of the big things, like, you know, people say they talk about walking or doing things, you know, and there is things like you can't do, but but you can do other things, you know, that, you know, it can balance it out. And there's a lot of mental, you know, you got to really learn to like yourself no matter what the situation is. And I think that's with anybody, even a walking person, you have to learn to really like yourself to be able to, you know, function and be productive in life. You know, it's just an ongoing process in life for even anybody.
Everyone, when they look at an accident like this or major tragedy in someone else's life, says, I couldn't cope with that. Coping with adversity teaches you your strengths. I learned the strengths. You know, gained a tremendous amount of personal insight. You know, so those are the gains. You know, I know what I can do, and you know, I'm proud of what I've done.
The work is hard. After a half-hour workout on a bicycle, Mark is winded. Sharon must use all of her inner reserve to work on developing her triceps. And Alan is near exhaustion as he completes his therapy to strengthen his upper body.
Well, it's a stepping stone. I think it's a real big thing for a lot of people. There's hope now for the spinal cord injured person. And I think it can teach a lot of people about different ways to keep their body healthy and to keep functioning in life, and that there is another life too. I think dealing and being with a lot of people that are in wheelchairs and seeing what they do, I think it helps mentally with a lot of people to show that there's other things you can do being in a wheelchair. And I think it helps mentally and physically, you know, because if you physically feel good about yourself, you mentally, you know, you feel good about yourself too. And I think it helps out in all those ways. It does, definitely.
No one knows when, or in fact if, a cure for paralysis will be found. But for Sharon Moskowitz and others, now there is hope.
It's so easy for us to sit and watch the patience and endurance required for someone to keep prepared for the miracle when it happens. But we must also remember They need our company and friendship as well.
And we hope you'll sit with us this evening. There's much more to come on Reel to Reel.
Since 1981, Reel to Reel has been proclaiming the good news by bringing you stories of Christian faith in action. We do it by roaming the Delaware Valley, searching for people of faith, hope, and charity.
But like all modern media, it is an expensive proposition. If you're a new viewer, or if you've enjoyed Reel to Reel for many years, we'd like to thank you for watching and invite you to participate by actively supporting the show.
With costs rising all around us, we need your financial support. A donation of $5, $10, $20, or whatever you can send will help to keep us on the air.
Send your contributions to Reel, 222 North 17th Street, room 907, Philadelphia, PA 19103. And thank you.
The old expression is that it takes a lot of loving to make a house a home. Here's someone who knows a lot about loving, about families, and about homes. Sister Leona Tucker of the Family Living Program. Sister, welcome to Reel to Reel.
Thank you, Father.
You are heading up a very interesting and a very, I want to say, special program that is, it's difficult, rewarding, and it's, I think, a vocation, the Family Living Program. Would you explain to the viewers of Reel to Reel what the program's all about?
The Family Living Program is a family-based residential unit. It's a model that provides personal care and individual training on a long-term basis for people with mental retardation, retardation on all functional levels.
And some of the people with mental retardation that you are looking to place with families range in age from what would the parameters be, Sister?
We usually place a teenager or an adult. Now it can be any age really, but most of our people that we have placed are within the teens or in the adult age range.
Now, you have had some great success with this program. We should let our viewers know that it's not new. It has been around for a number of years. It has been successful, but still there is a great need for families to accept some of these special clients of yours into their homes. Now, can you give us a little history of the program? When did it get started?
That's right, Father. The program began in the city of Philadelphia in 1984 by ARC. They placed the first person in a home in 1985. In 1986, the city asked the Catholic Social Services to undertake that program. And in 1987, July of 87, we took the program over, the Catholic Social Services.
So you have
So
officially
we have just been in it exactly 1 year.
Now, in that time, how many people have been placed with families in the area?
There are 31 persons who have been placed so far with 29 families. We don't usually put more than one person in a family. However, if there is a brother and sister or a family relationship type of person,
some kind of
then
a
we will
special
certainly,
case.
that's right, or if they have grown up together in a close relationship, that is all considered.
Tell me, if you will, what kind of family are you looking for to participate in this program? Obviously, with the numbers 31, 29 families, it's very successful, but it's not the kind of program that is for everyone. What kind of families are you looking for?
We're looking for families with stability, reliability, responsibility, a willingness to give of themselves, their love, their care to people who are in need. All of these people with mental retardation, they have their wants, their needs, and their dreams, just as you and I have ours.
Now, there is compensation, I know, for these families. They are compensated for their care. But tell me a little bit about the commitment that is required on their part.
It's a long-term commitment that we ask of the families. They are responsible for home care, supervision, necessary supervision, 3 meals a day, constant being with the client, with the person. And when I say constant being with, unless the person is semi-independent.
But it does become very much like adopting a person into the family in a sense.
It's a
doesn't it?
very, very family-oriented type of a program, and that's what we want. We want the person that we place to feel to be part of the family.
Sister, we are running out of time. I want to give the phone number to our viewers. If you are interested in participating in this very special, very worthwhile program, for more information and with no obligation, why not call 215-587-3960, 587-3960. Sister, just very briefly, we've got seconds left. I know you are very committed to this program. You feel so proud about it. What is the secret of it working so well? You've got two efforts going here.
I think the values of the Catholic Church through the Catholic Social Services of the Archdiocese of Philadelphia and the total compliance with state regulations
Together, make it
a
effective.
good program.
Thank you, Sister. Thanks for being here. Back to you, Monsignor and Jane.
From a physical impairment to a emotional and mental retardation impairment, we have all kinds of problems accepting other people, but nothing freezes us more than a prejudice we have against other people.
And tonight we're going to turn to Father Jerome Bracken once again. Now, he spoke before, earlier in the year, about the problem of homosexuality and how the church deals with it. But due to a recent flare-up in City Council, as we all heard on the news, we decided to go back to Father Jerome Bracken and talk about this volatile issue.
This time in January, 2 years ago, a letter came out from John Paul II on care of persons who have homosexual tendencies. And when the letter came out, people were kind of upset because they felt the letter was unfair and condemned people with such tendencies. But that's not true. What I'd like to do is just make a couple of points that the letter made, because all of us are called to offer pastoral care to people, no matter what their tendencies are. The first thing we ought to realize is that where the church got its reasoning in coming to this conclusion, used modern methods of exegesis, and saw that it was not in God's plan that homosexual acts should be performed. As a matter of fact, what God wanted, that when people perform genital acts, that those acts are both love-giving and life-creating. Now, acts between persons of the same sex have no possible way of achieving both purposes, and so such acts are sinful. Now, the tendencies that lead to such acts, then, they're not good either. They're not sinful, but they're not good. Well, what about the people who have these tendencies? Are they no good? Not at all. As a matter of fact, the document says that people who have these tendencies have as much dignity as anybody else, and they deserve the same kind of respect. Why do we respect people? Well, we respect people because they don't act out of instinct. They act out of their own freedom and self-control. The document says that even though their compulsions can be so strong that their freedom is taken away sometimes, we can't assume this is true all the time. And just like people have a compulsion to drink, there are still areas of freedom that they can exercise and that they have control in. That's my third point. They need help to expand this area of freedom and control, and they can. With God's grace, with the desire inside of them, with the help of their friends, yes, even with help of psychologists, they can develop their freedom and control. And so they won't be condemned to always have to perform these acts. They can refrain from that, and they can develop as full persons. There is hope. We have to be willing to offer that help. It's pastoral care. It's in God's plan that they can do it and we can help them, and that we should help them.
The key role in the church, as St. Peter would know, is pastoral care. For Jesus said to him, "Do you love me more than these?" And when he said, "Yes, you know it," Jesus said, "Feed my sheep."
We'd like you to stay with us because we're making room on the set for Joe Swope, so don't go away.
Throughout the centuries, art has played a historical role within the church. For a long while, painting and sculptures were the main technique used to teach people about Christianity.
From the river to the ocean and everywhere in between, The Diocese of Trenton lives in its parishes, people, homes, and schools, and the Monitor newspaper is your way to keep aware of the renewal of the diocese. Lively features, accurate news reports, and columnists with something to say. Read the Monitor to find out what's happening in your church, from around the world, throughout the diocese, in your parish, from the ocean to the river. To subscribe, call area code 609-586-7400.
We welcome your comments and suggestions and encourage you to write to us at Reel to Reel, 222 North 17th Street, room 907, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, 19103, or call us during regular business hours at 215-668-9842.
It's Arts Review. It's Joe Swope. Joe, I want to tell you how much I'm enjoying being with you and seeing the whole development of motion pictures you make for me. I'm now a viewer.
Good.
Teach me some more now.
I will. I hope I can get you into the theaters. The movies are often a reflection of the currents that sweep American society. From the outrage of Vietnam to the post-AIDS message of Fatal Attraction to the plea for justice and cry freedom, the cinema is very often a look into yourself. At first glance, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, a madcap adventure, half live action and half animated, may not appear to be about anything remotely real. But in its own unique way, Roger Rabbit has a lot to say about the state of the cinema, both from a technical and a social point of view. Americans are aging, and the yuppies are starting to turn gray. In the past year, we've seen cinematic yuppies raising babies and starting to take on parental responsibilities. But these same adults have started to reminisce about their youth, as we've seen in 4 body-switching movies. In many ways, Roger Rabbit is a more fully realized version of this theme of childhood lost, but fondly remembered. For the uninitiated, Steven Spielberg and Robert Zemeckis have put together the most novel movie in many a summer. Set in the heyday of Hollywood animation, Roger Rabbit suggests that all our favorite cartoon characters, Bugs Bunny, Dumbo, Donald and Daffy Duck, Yosemite Sam, were real, playing their parts in films just like any other actors. They were known as Toons and lived in the upside-down, anything-goes world of Toontown. There's a murder mystery plot that's a little too simplistic and has a muddy resolution. That's the weak point of the movie. But for the most part, Roger Rabbit is a tribute to the cartoon characters that we've all grown up with. Bob Hoskins is the real star of this movie, and his interaction with animated characters in virtually every scene in this movie not only makes a directorial nightmare, but is one of the most impressive technical achievements ever put on film. Hollywood's willingness to pump $50 million into this effort tells you a lot about the film's innate appeal. The movie has a sense of innocence. An alleged sexual encounter turns into a game of patty cake, and of freedom. These are characters created before the Too Good to Be True Smurfs generation, before they started counting cartoons to see how many violent acts Bugs created. In this movie, 1. It also has a sense of loss. Even though the Toons overcome and avert disaster, there's a sense that progress will eventually continue to hem them in and eventually find more useful things to replace them. The cartoons are a classic part of American entertainment. Perhaps as the yuppies begin to raise their babies, they'll refine this part of their childhood. Who Framed Roger Rabbit is a wonderful place to start and only makes you wish that there was a Toon around whenever you needed a laugh.
We'll have to look for them on the set here.
Real. I'll have to go to the house and see it.
Well, we're going to jump now from the movies. We're going to go right from the movies into pictures. And when you go into church history, you know that the pictures were really used for not only beauty and gorgeousness in the church, but they were also used to tell a story because the people could maybe not read the Bible.
But key, though, is the artist. The artist in every form strives to discover in us what is beauty and truth, and get us to reveal it, because what he sees is what he sees in us. Mm-hmm. And so it's not just a case of putting some memorial up, but to make art live in the present.
Throughout the centuries, art has played a historical role within the church. For a long while, painting and sculptures were the main technique used to teach people about Christianity. Still influential, artwork has slowly moved away from its traditional role of teaching and has encompassed more of an aesthetic aspect. Dave Smith, a painter specializing in spiritual art, put his talents to work in creating a life-size mural for the anniversary of the Mother Angelica kitchen and dining room.
I thought, well, you know, a soup kitchen is a pretty interesting environment. Maybe I could do a picture like that. I wanted the reality of the kitchen to be in the picture. I very much wanted the reality of the people to show through in their everyday appearance and in their everyday activities.
In order to capture such reality, selected clients of the kitchen were photographed.
I had to photograph the people after I talked to them, after I met them, and asked them if they were going to participate. Actually, it was very difficult because I had never done anything like that before. Everything was right from scratch. I would take like 3 or 4 different photographs, at least, of the entire figure in one position. And I would make composites. One little girl changed her mind after I started working with her. She didn't want to be in the picture. And her father was photographed with her. That's the child that is being consoled by the Christ figure. She was really the only character that looked like she needed consolation, and I realized later how important an emotion that was in the picture, that Christ was right by her, consoling her.
This unique interpretation of Christ is presented in a way that gives onlookers a sense of consolation and security.
The environment might be a little frightening for people who have never been there before, coming into a soup kitchen, not knowing what to expect. I didn't want to scare them in a way by forcing them to see Christ there. I wanted to have a very, very gradual process of them looking at him, seeing a line of people, seeing a man, with a beard, the only one staring at us. Why might he be looking directly at us? And then finally the child is holding the hand with the stigmata on it, and even that can be overlooked. I mean, there's no definite sign on there that he has to be Christ. If you see him, your faith allows you to find him.
Although the entire mural has an overall theme of hope, there are many other subtleties found within.
Christ is present in a Eucharistic way. People are receiving food, and what you see on another level is like a communion line. People gathered in a community, like they are in church, they all come together for the single purpose of relating to Christ, to find his presence.
Nonsense, the hilarious musical comedy, is sponsoring the Nonsense Talent Contest. 5 winning nuns from the Archdiocese will be performing during the month of February. For information, call Society Hill Playhouse.
Travel arrangements for Reel to Reel by Atkinson and Mullen Travel of Media, PA. Phone area 215-565-7070.